Hello everyone, this is HammerTron here with a new action figure review for you. This time I am reviewing the Marvel Select Anti-Venom action figure. So this action figure, this particular one here, came out in 2022, but I think this action figure has been around for maybe 10 years or more than 10 years. So here it comes in a very nice window package where we can see the action figure and any accessories it has. Interesting spider logo sticker on the package there. So here is the top of the package, and here's the bottom. Here is one side, and here is the other side. Here is the back. This has a little mini biography where Eddie Brock was the original Venom, and then he was abandoned by the alien symbiote that was the black costume for Spider-Man, and now he has some sort of new I don't know if this is another symbiote or something else that's very similar to it, but it's a white outfit. We get a little terrain bit here, some other action figures. Down here the date is 2022. I bought this in later 2022, but they also say that sometimes they make changes to the action figure mold to update it, so sometimes the action figure looks a little different from the picture. So I'm happy about that, because that's proper behavior for a company. Produce a product, and if it's a pretty good product, people will continue to buy it for many years to come. And they shouldn't have to go through a secondary market and pay outrageously high prices for simple action figures. So this character in this action figure form has been around for maybe 10 years or more, and I got a nice new one that has only been in existence for well, less than a year, because the package says it was made in 2022. So one problem with this package is it's a little hard to open it and then reseal it. I did review a Marvel Select Colossus action figure. I ended up having to cut the package here, around here, and up here. That way I can pull it open and fold back the card part and take the action figure out of the tray. And then for storage, I can slide it back in, but the package still kind of swings open on the side. So that's a little annoying. I'll have to see if I can think of a better way to do that, or just live with it. So in just a moment, I will take this action figure out and review it. Here is the accessory or action figure stand that comes with the Anti-Venom action figure. So it's actually an action figure stand or base. So it's about maybe 6 inches wide, maybe a little more than 6 inches wide at the widest point. At the highest point, about 7 inches tall. And let's check to see how deep it is. Maybe about 5 inches deep. So it's a nicely sized action figure stand. Now it comes in 3 pieces. These 2 pieces come off in the back. And then here, a couple of pegs where we can put the action figure. So a peg here and a peg here. These things are just a little bit pliable. A little bit rubbery there. And back here, this piece plugs in here. Now I have not pushed it all the way in, because I wonder if it'll snap into place and be impossible to remove, and I want to be able to put this back in the box to store it. And this one plugs in on this side here. Again, I did not push this all the way in because I want to be able to take it apart to store it, but it does look nice, and these things do stand on their own. Here's the bottom. Looks alright. And lots of little details here. So I think it's a very nice accessory piece, And it does have to be assembled, but at least I've been able to keep it this way without assembling it. And the action figure will plug into the pegs. Just have to find it and plug it in. There we go. Here is the Anti-Venom action figure out of the package. Let's see how tall this action figure is. Up to the top of the head, it's about 7 3/4 inches tall. So that's a pretty nicely sized action figure. And when you take it out of the package, it's covered with all these very sharp spikes everywhere, and they're very sharp. These are hard plastic spikes on the head, the shoulders, the back of the arms, on the forearms, on the calves. So lots of spikes everywhere in the fingers. So on the chin here, and the teeth. So just no spikes on the front here. So at least there's a safe place to hold on to the action figure. So those are sharp and hard plastic. So not for little kids. It's an interesting face design there. Looks very scary. So the white part is not pure white. Not quite as white as I thought it would be. It does have a nice spider design. And here it goes down the leg, so if we turn the legs a little bit, the lines will, well, line up. So it's a little bit of a problem. I think the legs should be turned a little more this way, and then they should have painted the line that way. But lots of muscles in it. The waist seems to be very, very narrow, with larger thighs and broad shoulders there. The rest of it looks kind of plain. Peg holes in the middle of the feet. Usually the peg holes are in the heels. And lots of spikes here. So very nice. And these fingers are very long and they are pretty sharp, but they're a little bit pliable. And the knuckles are pretty sharp. But the fingers themselves are a little more pliable. Kind of sharp at the end. But it's thin plastic, so it will be bendable. We don't want to do that too much or we'll break something. So, looks nice. Now, I've been checking into how old this action figure design is, and it's probably more than 12 years old. So, most of the action figures I have reviewed up to this point are much more recent, so they have a lot more articulation. So considering how old this design is, there is less articulation than I expected, but I didn't realize how old it was. Now, we can turn the head side to side. There is a hinge there, but very hard to try to move the head forward and back because we have to put our fingers on the spikes here, so I haven't been able to do that. So it doesn't go up and down. One other thing I've noticed is that it seems like the neck is jutting forward, I think, a bit too much. So it's okay for kind of a hideous or grotesque monster, but even monsters should have better posture than this. But scary design though. So that's the neck. The shoulders, looks like ball joints here, so they move up and down and they go out. They're limited by the spikes, so they can bend like this. And no bicep cut or anything. There's a single jointed elbow, moves in that much, moves in that much, and that's as straight as we can get it. And then the wrists, they only turn. There's no hinge in there, so you don't want to start trying to push it because there's just no hinge and it's not going to bend and you'll break it if you're not careful. No diaphragm cut there, but there's a waist cut. So it turns at the waist. And then here are the hip joints. There's some kind of ball joint in here, but I can't really get it to go out very much because I still can't quite see what joint is in there. So I don't want to keep tugging too much on it, so that's as much of the splits as it can do. And can kick forward that much. It's taken a while to get it wiggled that far. I don't want to keep pushing too hard. Then it goes back just a little bit. This one doesn't move very much. And then there's an upper thigh cut here. So those are pretty loose. And this is part of why I don't want to try bending the hips too much. I wonder if there's a peg in here that'll break if I keep pushing or pulling. And then there's single jointed knees. Bends in that much. And then no boot cut. And then the ankles go down that much. And they go up that much. There's no ankle pivot. So, not too bad for a 12-year-old action figure design. It does stand. It's not extremely posable in the legs. A little hard to get it posed. I can do just a little bit, bend the knee a little bit. Get the arm out. So, articulation's a bit more limited than I thought it was. But I shouldn't be too surprised considering how old the design is, but I still think it looks cool. Here is Anti-Venom next to a pair of 4-inch action figures. On the right is an Adventurer action figure from an Animal Planet set I reviewed a while ago. And on the left is the Fortnite Jonesy action figure by Jazzwares. Here is Anti-Venom next to 3 6-inch action figures. On the right is the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin White Ranger. Then to the left is the Marvel Legends Mr. Fantastic. And then to the left of him is the Fortnite Legendary Series Havoc action figure. The Power Ranger is by Hasbro, Mr. Fantastic is made by Hasbro, and Havoc is made by Jazzwares. Here is Anti-Venom next to a pair of 7-inch action figures. On the right is the Masters of the Universe Master vs. He-Man action figure by Mattel. And on the left is the DC Multiverse Green Lantern Kyle Rayner by McFarlane Toys. So Anti-Venom would make a great scary monster for either one of these. Here is Anti-Venom next to the other Marvel Select action figure I have already reviewed. This is the Colossus action figure. So I think the Colossus action figure is a more recent design. I'm not sure how old it is, but it's certainly more recent than Anti-Venom because there's a lot more articulation on the Colossus action figure. There's a diaphragm cut, there are bicep cuts, there are actually pivots at the ankles. However, the hip joints are still pretty limited. Perhaps that's just part of the Marvel Select design. So, also Colossus is much taller than the Anti-Venom action figure, which is good because Anti-Venom is not super huge like Colossus is. The HammerTron Sledgehammer rating for the Marvel Select Anti-Venom action figure is just barely okay, and this might be too high. Now, this action figure design is maybe 12 years old or older, so I can excuse a little bit of the limited articulation with it, but still some of the articulation is too limited even for an action figure that old. Biggest problem I think are the hips not moving as much as they could or should. The other joints I'm not so bothered by. I'm not really bothered by the lack of ankle pivot. The design itself looks pretty good, But it's just the hip joints I think are just too limited, so that's why it's just barely okay. I am happy about the stand and how I'm able to use it without pushing these back parts in all the way, so I can disassemble it pretty easily for storage. And it does look pretty neat. I'm not sure if other action figures would be able to stand in those peg holes or not, or the pegs, but I'll try it out some other time. I just think the design for the stand looks pretty neat. So, other than the hip joint problems or limitation there, I do like how it looks. It is kind of sharp and spiky, and yeah, I'm happy to accept the sharpness and spikiness. I'll just have to be careful when handling this action figure. So, thank you for watching my review video. Remember to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with my future reviews. I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.